think we wanted to get into the in-season tournament and what a
Yes.
success it's been. I know Naj, I know you left the in-season tournament on a bad note, but uh, first of all, how do you guys feel about it so far and what you've seen?
About the
Is it
in-season
better than you
tournament.
thought it would be? Is it worse? Is it what you thought?
So let me just say this, if it's okay with you.
Mm.
For all those people that were like, the in-season tournament is so stupid. Like, the only thing that matters is the championship. Like, why would we play this in-season tournament? Like, I don't even get it. You were all wrong. We tried to tell you were wrong. Anytime they try to give you competitive basketball, you just shouldn't complain. You should wait till you see it and then judge it. It doesn't matter. And here's another thing. I'm going all full circle with this. I thought it was really dumb when people kept saying they should, if you win it, you should get an automatic playoff berth. The whole reason for the tournament is to give us competitive basketball, right? So if a team wins it, let's say the Clippers, like in a hypothetical world, and they win it, and you give them an automatic like top 5 seed, we will not see the Clippers players until, other than Russell Westbrook, until the playoffs. That's why I thought it was always dumb to go with that route. I felt this was an amazing idea. I always thought it was an amazing idea. I always thought it would succeed, just like the playing games. As soon as it becomes competitive basketball, and all of a sudden you're getting playoff games in the middle of November and December, everyone gets real quiet and they start texting in their group chats. Man, that Warriors Kings game was really good last night. I'm kind of liking this tournament. Now I understand if you don't understand the standings and how everything's working yet. But if you really thought this wasn't going to be great, you're tripping. Because $500,000 to the bench players means a lot, and players are playing for their bench. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say the only part I could see going wrong with this in terms of like what matters, like let's say the Celtics won, right? They're a championship contending team. If they win the in-season tournament and don't win the championship,
Don't you dare say that.
The memes are going to be crazy.
Don't
the
you dare
memes are
say
going to
that.
be crazy.
You're not allowed to say that. You're
The
not allowed
memes
to
are
say
going to be
that.
crazy.
But
Why?
you're not allowed to say that.
He's not
Because
allowed to
you know
say
who
the
said
memes
that?
are gonna be
No,
crazy?
you're not allowed to say that. Because 5 episodes ago, JD already told you that. JD told you 5 episodes ago that if the Lakers, the Celtics, the Bucks, any team that has a championship, actual contending team wins and doesn't win the championship, they will get made fun of. I appreciate you coming with that, but you're the second one to say that. I said that first, brother.
I didn't say I was the first one.
But I didn't get my credit.
No,
I didn't get my credit.
No, I was just saying because you said that it matters, and I was speaking to that where it does matter, but at the same time, the championship is really what matters. Like this is like if Orlando won this, it would be a nice story. Like, oh, look at Orlando, but they have no expectations past that. Like you have to finish the job if you win this tournament and you're a contending team. That's my only point.
I disagree, but it is a proven thing that we know will happen. So the NBA is at a little like a centerfold. So like let's say the Magic win. It'll be a nice win for them, but a lot of people will just say, well, they wouldn't win the real thing. But that's really not how this stuff goes in other sports. Like you win that, that's that. There's another championship on the way. So I think that's
I think this is the first year though, and people are going
I agree. I'm saying this is due. It will happen that way due to confusion of understanding what this tournament really means and how this is structured. So people are going to do that anyway. But if I just say this last part, but it really doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter, but the means will get you. So that's why I was saying from the beginning, I hoped that Denver won, like a team like Denver would win it, because it would add legitimacy. That a team that won the championship turned around and won the in-season tournament. Oh, now the team that won the chip, the team that we know is probably the best team in the league, they won it. So now it also brings that type of feel to it. So it would be interesting because if Phoenix, LA, Bucks, or Boston win it, I can see people giving it legitimacy until the championship round.
I would say too, I think the in-season tournament might be a little tougher to win than the championship. Just in terms of like, because it's single elimination, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So you really only have to be the better team that day, right?
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Too.
Whereas
like,
in a series, like usually the better team is gonna win just because you have to beat them 4 times. But everyone can have an off night. Everyone can get hot, and you're maybe not necessarily the better team, but you can beat a better team that day. We see it all the time in the NBA, right? So it's probably a little harder to win the in-season tournament.
Oh, facts. I was gonna say like it's gonna probably kind of mirror March Madness, where we're seeing like all these like Cinderella stories and things like that. I was gonna say I think it'll be really interesting if Sac goes on a run. If Sac goes on a run and like really has a shot at winning the in-season tournament, I think that'll be really interesting.
Or Indiana too. Like they're scoring like 130 points per game, like something crazy.
And Naj, I'm so happy you said that because I was going to say that next. That's why college basketball, if you look during the regular season, their numbers or TV ratings they're not that high. They're just average ratings. But then during the March Madness, 10 million, 15, 10, 12 million people are watching. So you've added the element of soccer to basketball, a random tournament. We're going to throw it in the middle for money. And you've added college basketball things. It doesn't even matter if you don't like college basketball. Every restaurant you walk into during March is playing college basketball, and you start getting in tune with what's happening, especially when it gets down to the final 8-14.
I think too, what makes people watch is that everyone does a bracket. So if the NBA like made that a thing, like put emphasis on like predict the in-season tournament, you know, that would be like another element that would make people watch. Like, oh, maybe my bracket, like I'll be one of the ones to get it right, you know, whatever.
Ooh, Jeff, you might need to put that on social media. That's really good. If you should probably post that very soon so we can gain some tractions to be the ones that came up with that, because that's
man.
That might be your best idea
you've
ever had on this show. That was really good.
Because these eliminations are gonna, I don't know.
There's gonna be some surprises
for sure.
Yeah, there's gonna be some surprises.
But also, I mean, it's not. I mean, we talked about college basketball. We talked about soccer, or football. Don't fight me. But I just thought about even too, like it brings in elements of the NFL, like. When we're talking about the NFL playoffs, they're not playing multiple games. It's single game elimination.
Yep.
And so it's been proven in all these different major arenas before. Like it's kind of about time that the NBA does this.
The NBA might be the only sport other than maybe hockey that has not. No, baseball has. Remember, the first round of the playoffs is the one game.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say about like a single elimination.
Yeah. So, but I'm just saying they've implemented it somewhere in the system. They know urgency gives you ratings, so it's a really good idea. And like for example, in the East, on the East bracket, I would pick the Bucks over the Knicks, and I would probably pick the Celtics over the Pacers. Well, there's a good chance we're going to see that in the Eastern Conference Finals anyway. So for TV ratings, let's say whoever wins that game, I'm not going to even do it because Jeff's here, but whoever wins that game, dude, they're going to refer back to the in-season tournament till the playoffs, till they match up. That's going to be that. Well, hey, in the tournament, when it was time to play, Jason Tatum had 40. Giannis had. That's all they're going to talk about. Yeah. So this was that's why I never got why people think this was a great idea.
Yeah, especially if we get some like repeat, games. If like, they went head to head, single elimination, and somebody like lost or whatever, and then it goes to a game 7 in the playoffs. And we get that game again.
Facts.
Well, I think the success of this tournament was all based on whether the players took it seriously or not. And I saw the Celtics, they were out of it, right? Like to move on to the next round. And they played Chicago, and they had to beat Chicago by 23 points to have a chance. And I watched the Celtics go out there and pummel the Bulls, and not only beat them by 23 or more, but also I saw Joe Mazzulla start hacking Andre Drummond, right? Knowing that he was going to miss the free throws. And he had to pull
a disgrace.
He had to pull the coach, Chicago Bulls, Billy Donovan. He had to pull him aside and say, hey, I know what I'm doing is disrespectful, but remember, points differential. So, and even after the game, Drew Holiday was like, I get why we were doing it, but it like his conscience was bothering him because he knew it was like disrespectful to the game. But he's like, I'm not mad that we did it. It just felt weird, So like the whole points differential adds a different element to it because the Celtics had to win by 23, but also the Nets had to beat, I forget, the Raptors. They had to beat the Raptors, but they couldn't beat them by more than 19, right? So the Celtics winning by 23 and the Nets just winning helped the Celtics. you know? And then you think about it, you're like, why would the Nets want to beat the Raptors to help the Celtics? Well, because it's still a regular season game and every win counts regardless, you know? So it's like all these different layers to it that make you like I went from the Celtics game straight to the Nets game. I probably wouldn't watch Nets Raptors. Like there was much more interesting. Yeah, there was much more interesting games on that I could have watched, but I went straight to that one. And then there was another game, I can't remember which one it was, that I went straight to that one to see how that one turned out. But just like all these different layers that they added to it made it so interesting. And the fact that the players are taking it seriously is what takes it over the top.
But that and that was the point too, because one, I did hear that depending on the success, the money might even go higher and higher.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
So yeah, you might get to a point
where sponsors are probably going to want to like make it like, you know, the Kia in-season tournament, you know, and they up it to like 2 million, and the guys are like, oh no.
I really think that people that didn't think it would work were just confused. For example, this is what Jeff means. Jeff, that's a method from soccer. So many times you find yourself like, because in soccer they have standings too, like. And it looks a little bit different. So you end up watching a team that you don't care about because they could have, if they win or lose, it affects your team standing, right? So like now you're tuning in to 2 or 3 games. Like it was a genius play. Instead of 8 teams, I wonder like, should we expand it? Because now like if first of all, let's just be real, Lakers Suns is gonna probably be there's gonna be a highly rated TV game. All right. Oh, did we even mention it's ESPN and TNT? So you got Charles Barkley, Stephen A, Shaq. Oh, Ernie, Kent. Like it's about to go crazy.
Best of both
then you
worlds.
got and I hope they bring Shannon on, because if you have Shannon, Shaq, like that would just be crazy. But all you need is Jeff Naj and JD. But that's crazy anyway.
Yeah, you guys can settle for that. I mean.
Yeah, Kings. I know, right? You're right. Kings and Pelicans. I'm gonna be honest with you. Kings have a good following. Zion. They're gonna market them. Bucks, Knicks. Ratings. Celtics, ratings. Pacers are on the upright. If a team like the Pacers even win, all of a sudden you've put your face. The one thing about the playoffs is when you win in the playoffs, you just put 5 million people onto your who you are and what your team is doing. So like for last year, the Kings, all those years they weren't winning yet, and De'Aaron Fox had a little buzz to NBA fans. But after what he did in the playoffs, your grandma might know who De'Aaron Fox is. This is going to have the same effects. Halliburton on the Pacers, he's a good player. We all know that. But the average person doesn't know, not fan, but person doesn't know who Halliburton is. If he goes off here and beats the Celtics and, like, let's say he just goes crazy, he's putting a name on him. So automatic first All-Star, everything. I mean, he might already get that, but you get what I'm saying. So,
but no, I think it'll definitely do that. I feel like.
Oh, yeah, it's the first one. Yeah.
Even if I'm just thinking, like, if I'm thinking of, like, my wife, like when I try to get her like into games or whatever, if there's like a game on, she always wants to know like what it means, you know. She's always kind of like, you know, what is it,
the backstory,
you know, like why am I interested in this game? It's just a game on. But if it's like, no, this is an elimination game in a tournament and yada yada or whatever, like then all of a sudden like people who really don't care about basketball unless there's like stakes behind it are automatically like interested in the game.
Like how do you get someone to care about game 17 in the season?
Yeah,
you know, that's what my wife always says. She's like, 82 games is a lot. I can miss game 19. Like she's not like me. Like I want to watch all 82 games if I can. But like, people are like, why should I get like? I'll start watching it like game 65 to see like playoff implications start to happen, and I'll tune in for the playoffs. Yeah. But this is a good way to have people like tune in to like the middle of the season.
Facts. You know? And you're also winning people back too from football. Like, you know, so many people are just thinking football right now and not watching basketball because, you know, I don't know, I could wait until Sunday, or I could wait until Monday or whatever. But like, you know, now you're getting people back. It's smart that they're doing that this time of the year as well. Like, because this is probably where they, you know, probably historically have pretty low numbers. Yeah, thanks, Siri.
Yeah, sorry, that was my Siri. Siri's been talking to me like crazy the last 3 days. Hey, Naj, you're 100% right. Can you imagine I did that on purpose so I can say something and I just like can you imagine?
Siri's been talking to me all the time.
Anyway, back to I forgot. Oh, and they're stealing ratings from football right now because all the sports shows want to talk football. So when you do this in the middle of a Tuesday, you're forcing a lot of shows to talk about you. That's what's super smart too. And this is why you guys are 100% right. I didn't even think about that element. I remember being somewhere and my friend was watching playoff hockey. And I've never watched hockey a day in my life like that. But playoff hockey, honestly, when I just really sat there for 5 minutes, it was incredible. Any type of playoff, high-intensity sport can catch your eye for a minute, especially if it's a close game that has implications that means a lot. So,
it don't really matter.
All we got to pray is for good games. We need good games, and then we good.
Yeah, I just thought it was crazy that like I was watching the Celtics play the Bulls, and I wanted them to win, and the game was over. But now like the Bulls are trying to like beat us and shorten the lead, like cut the lead to 20, just on purpose. And it's like, nah, I can't win. I need to win by 23. Like, just a win isn't enough. So that was like a weird feeling.
Like you could lose by 15 and still feel like, we got it.
Exactly.
Jeff, remember like
they could be like, we did that.
Yeah. Jeff, remember tournaments? You be in a tournament and the seeding is based off point difference. So you be up by you could be up by 15 with a minute to go. You still trying to get a steal and get a layup just to get that's what it reminds me of. That's why I love it so much. It's just fun.
No, I was watching like the starting five in the game with like 3 minutes left, up 27, because they're like, no, we need to make sure we win this. Like playing against the Bulls bench, it's like a weird, but I liked it though. It was cool.
That's why Cleveland lost. Cleveland was 3-1, and I think they only lost out to the Knicks by maybe 2 or 3 points, and so the Raptors got us at the end. Like stunt.
Yeah,
I mean, and like not the Raptors, the Hawks. The Hawks got us.
It like rewards being dominant.